Welcome to the Annual Report section of your all-in-one accounting dashboard. The Annual Report is a legal document that Estonian companies must submit to the authorities after the end of each fiscal year. It includes all the company's transactions, movements, and operations for that year, alongside different reports such as the balance and profit and loss analysis. For most Estonian companies, submitting the annual report is a legal obligation. The only exception applies if your company was registered after July 1st of the previous fiscal year. For example, for the 2026 annual report, submission is mandatory for all companies registered before July 1st, 2025. At Companio, we support you throughout the entire annual report process. To make things as clear and manageable as possible, we've reduced it to a simple, guided process made up of 4 steps. Each step helps ensure legal compliance while keeping everything easy to follow. The annual report request period with Companio opens on January 1st. From January 1st to March 31st, the service is available at a reduced early bird rate. Let's take a look at how the process works, starting from the very beginning. Payment. Before the process itself begins, you'll need to complete the payment through your all-in-one accounting dashboard. This allows us to create your annual report and start working on it. Once you're inside, you'll see a banner on the homepage inviting you to begin the process. After completing the payment, a new annual report is automatically created in the system. From that moment on, we start working on your annual report by gathering and reviewing all the necessary information and requirements. Step 1. Requisites. The first step of the process is called Requisites. At this stage, our system reviews the information available for your company and identifies anything that is still missing. Once this review is done, the required actions will appear directly in the annual report section of your dashboard, which you can find in the left-hand sidebar or on the banner on the homepage. Here, you'll see a list of all the actions that need to be completed before we can formally prepare and submit your annual report. Not all companies will see the same requisites. Depending on your situation, you may have several actions to complete, just a few, or none at all. If everything is already in order, you'll see a banner clearly informing you that there are no pending requisites. Let's go through the possible requisites you might see. Permission for the accountant. The first and most important one is granting permission to our accountant, if you haven't already done so. If the permission is already in place, you won't need to take any action for this step. This is done through a power of attorney, which allows our accountant to prepare and submit the annual report on your behalf. The power of attorney is completed digitally and signed using a digital signature. Inside this requirement, you'll find a direct link to a step-by-step guided tutorial. This tutorial explains exactly how to grant the power of attorney through the Estonian government portal. Once this permission is granted, you can move on to the remaining requisites, if any apply to your case. Check that your banks are connected. You may be asked to reconnect one or more bank accounts. If a bank account is disconnected, you'll see a button labeled Reconnect to start the process. Please note that if you reconnect a bank account that has been disconnected for some time, our system may detect transactions for the first time that need to be matched with documents. In that case, new requisites may be added to your annual report. Once all accounts are properly connected, you'll be able to confirm this step by clicking Confirm. Missing bank statements. You may be asked to upload bank statements when there are gaps in the transaction history. This can happen in cases such as when a bank account was disconnected for a long period and older transactions are no longer available, or when a bank account was not kept consistently connected. In these cases, you'll need to upload the missing bank statements for the corresponding banks by clicking Upload. After uploading all required statements, you'll confirm the step using the Confirm button. Missing documents for transactions. Here, the system will show you a list of transactions or bank payments that still need to be matched. In most cases, this will require uploading supporting documents such as invoices, salary records, or receipts. However, in some situations, you may only need to classify the transaction, for example, as a bank fee. In this view, you'll mainly work with two columns: Options and Actions. In the Options column, you'll specify what the transaction represents. Based on your selection, the Actions column will allow you to either upload a document or match the transaction. Missing payments for documents. In some cases, the situation is the opposite. You already have documents, such as invoices, but they still need to be matched to a bank transaction or supported with a payment confirmation. Here, the options you'll see will vary depending on whether the document is a purchase invoice or a sales invoice. You'll always start by selecting the appropriate option. Depending on what you choose, you'll either upload a payment confirmation or match the document to a bank transaction from the list provided in the Actions column. If you select the option, I will get the payment next year for sales invoices, or I will pay it next year for purchase invoices, please note that these options are only available for December documents. In those cases, no further action will be required from your side. Once everything is completed, you'll confirm the step. Missing other documents. In very exceptional cases, you might see a section called Missing Other Documents. Here, our team will leave a specific request explaining what is needed. You'll see this request in the Document Request column. If you have the requested document, you can upload it directly. If the document doesn't exist or isn't available, you'll have the option to leave a comment explaining the situation instead. For every requirement listed on the main screen, you'll always find a button on the right-hand side to start the corresponding action. As you complete each requirement, it will be marked as Done with a green label on your main screen. Once all requisites are completed, you'll see the option to click All Requisites Fulfilled. Then, our system will automatically review all the information and documents you've provided. If something is missing or needs to be corrected, we'll let you know. You'll receive an email notification, and when you return to the Requisites screen, you'll also see a banner informing you that there are still pending items. In those cases, you'll find the affected items listed again. By clicking the red arrow on the left side of each item, you'll be able to see the reason why it was flagged or rejected, along with guidance on what needs to be corrected. Once you update the required information and everything is approved, you'll be able to continue. If everything is correct from the start or once all issues have been resolved, the process will move forward to the next step, preparation. Step 2, Preparation. At this stage, our system reviews and validates all the information provided. Based on this data, two key financial documents are prepared: the Statement of Financial Position and the Profit and Loss Statement. Once these documents are ready, you'll be able to review them directly in your dashboard. From here, you can either approve them or reject them if you believe corrections are needed. If you choose to reject the documents, a text box will open where you'll need to explain the reason for the rejection. This explanation is required so our team can review the issue and make the necessary adjustments. Any comment you submit will remain visible on the main screen of the preparation step, so you can always track what's been requested. If you approve the documents, the process continues automatically to the next step. Step 3. Profit or loss. In this step, the system will clearly show whether your company recorded a profit or a loss during the fiscal year, along with the corresponding amount. If your company recorded a profit, you'll have the option to distribute part or all of this profit as dividends. You can specify the amount you wish to distribute. If you don't want to distribute any dividends, simply enter 0 and click Confirm. If your company recorded a loss, the process works differently. In some cases, a loss does not require any corrective action. For example, if the company has already recovered and no longer has a loss. In that situation, the loss is simply declared in the annual report, and you can continue without taking further measures. However, if the company has a loss, action is required to avoid a formal situation of insolvency. In this case, you'll be asked to choose one of several possible solutions. Each option has legal and financial implications, and the most appropriate one depends on your company's structure and situation. If you're unsure which option to choose, you can always contact us for guidance. Once you've selected the appropriate option and submitted the required documents, our system will review everything before moving forward. Step 4. Signature and submission. The final step of the process is signature and submission. At this stage, we upload the annual report to the Estonian Business Register on your behalf. From there, the report must be digitally signed by all required member or members of the management board based on your company's registered representation rights. In your dashboard, you'll see a clear overview of the steps needed to complete the signing process. You'll also find a direct link to a detailed, step-by-step guide in our knowledge base, with screenshots and full instructions for signing through the business register. Once all required signatures have been completed, you'll need to confirm this in your dashboard by clicking the Confirm button. If something is missing, for example, if not all required signatures have been completed, we'll let you know so it can be corrected. Once everything is properly signed and verified, the annual report is officially submitted to the Estonian authorities. You'll receive a confirmation email, and the annual report process will be fully completed. Final reminder. Submitting the annual report is a legal requirement for Estonian companies, and we know it can feel complex at first. That's why we've designed this process to guide you step by step, making everything as clear and manageable as possible. And remember, if you ever have questions or need extra help, you can always find detailed guidance in our knowledge base or reach out to our team directly through the chat in your all-in-one accounting dashboard. You're not doing this alone. We're here to help you get it done the easy way.